Hi, students. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. There is this videos that I came across where she was asking, what is it about people that look like me that triggers women, right? So she got her questions to ask, and also I saw another one that said, "Do you people think that black people are humans?" I know some people be like, "What is going on? Why are they asking these kind of questions and all that?" You have checked around, looked around, and all that. You absolutely will understand that there is need to ask these questions, right? I don't know if you all know about this Dr. Barlow's her first university assignment. All of a sudden, we found out that her she went to trademark the school, like in a Holman Talk University, for teaching Black histories and and talking about anything that goes to do with Black people. Only to find out that women or like went to trademark the same name, right? So I am asking, why do you people behave the way you behave? What is it about people that look like me that trigger you or make you say jealous that you do not like, you all do not think that there is need to give people space, right? I have already talked about how some people, I remember there was a time we talked about individual, like, how do they call that again? Like, close practices and all that. To some people, they felt like, how can you not bring us in your close practices and all that? Like, why would it be close practice? This tells a whole lot about some people. Let's get into this.
And then I think it dawned on me on why white women behave the way they do with black women consistently, no matter how many times black women tell them over and over that their actions is not only inappropriate but unacceptable. So, because I'm scrolling down my FYP and I'm still seeing more of those videos from, in comments about how people are feeling in the spaces that are supposed to be designed for us and by us. And then I look up in the top left corner and I see that Hillman TikTok University is on live. So it sat with me for a second, like, yo, what really goes on with white women? Like unless you are suffering from some like compulsive disorder where you just can't help yourself or some intellectual disability, I can't understand why somebody would continue to repeat the same, poor patterns, regardless of what somebody says or the consequences that land behind them. And it made me think about like, oh, how are white women conditioned in their childhood? Because something in me started to feel like, I feel like black women trigger white women a type of way. And hear me out, in no type of way am I giving excuses for their behavior, because baby, get a therapist and work that shit out. But it was just making me curious, because we're forced to interact with these people, and in these trying times it's going to be more and more difficult, so I'm trying to find some way to cope. And what I came up with is that outside of like the bigotry and the racism that is embedded in the thinnest parts of white women's scalp, which makes them understand that because they're white, they look better, they're prettier, they deserve the world, and everything should be about them, and nobody is above them because they're white. White women are beaten into submission as young girls, and the tactics that they use in the white community is shame, fear mongering, and exclusion. That's what it is. Oh man. We exclude them, and I feel like that triggers their behavior, that it triggers something in them. Because white women are told every single day from the moment that from the moment that they begin to get interested in boys, okay, I don't know, what is it, 9, 10 years old, that the only way that they're going to be happy in life is to end up with some man that can take care of them, and or just, whatever the qualifiers for the men out there, and give him a bunch of kids that he wants, and that's your happily ever after. You have to find a prince. When you don't listen to those rules, they punish you. You're supposed to look a certain way, act a certain type of way, talk a certain type of way. You're supposed to have a certain type of weight, dress a type of way. And when you don't conform to these rules, they punish you. And how do they punish white women? The first thing that they do is, like I said, fearmonger them. Person is not you're never going to find anybody. You're going to be desperate. You're going to be alone. You're going to die alone. You're going to do all this other stuff. And they isolate you. They exclude the women that are not performing correctly. They make you feel bad about yourself. They make fun of you. They ridicule you. All this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, black women trigger white women, because black is the coolness. So black women are seen as the cool kids. And since white women are always taught in their community to be in competition with another, it's a sense of jealousy and triggering that comes from them when they see black women. Because not only are black women seen as the cool kids, black women are raised differently. We are forced to understand that we only have each other. We are forced to have some sense of community because of the country that we grew up in, because of the fabric of the country that we grew up in. And it intrigues them. And it makes them upset. It makes them jealous. It makes them feel like this is the only place where they'll be able to be free, the only place they'll be able to be themselves. And when the cool kids exclude them consistently, especially when they feel like they are performing and behaving appropriately, it bugs them out. It angers them. And then that's when that racist shit come out. How the hell should you, why the hell, would you tell me that I can't be? I'm white, you nigger, this is, and that thought process comes up, and then the macroaggressions come, because I don't like to ever call them micro, because I think micro is about them. But yeah, that's sad. In a way, again, I'm not making no excuses for that behavior, because this is my fucking problem, but in a way, it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad, because it's like a cry out, it's like I'm not going to say a desperation, but it's kind of like a hand and a reaching out and a crying out to be accepted, to be seen, to be important, to be feeling free, to feel comfortable, to feel at ease, to feel like you have an opportunity to breathe, and to feel like you will be accepted in a place that allows you to do that. And then when those great people are not allowing you to do that with them, it triggers how you were treated. It triggers that childhood post-traumatic stress that you had. And you only know how to behave one way. You're going to lash out if you don't do the work to fix it. It's something. White women, y'all need to seek some help. Y'all need to do a therapy session amongst each other. Stop. Leave black women alone.
Do you believe that black people are human beings? I mean, fully human. Like, everything about us is human. The same human as white human. Do you believe that? As you are in conversations with friends and family members in the days, weeks, months, and certainly years to come, on the issue of rights and privileges and acceptance of and honoring of and acknowledging the history of black people in our country, in our world, those are going to be heated arguments. They just are. And especially for white people who are engaging with other white people on this topic, as I support them in doing, white women in particular, I support white women in making sure they are prepared and ready and conversant and a student of how to navigate these conversations. As you're engaging with those, these are the kinds of things that you're going to have to be prepared to unpack. And this question, do you believe that black people are fully human? Do you see them as human? Not whether they are in fact, but what do you believe black people to be in the context of humanity? That is a really powerful question. And in my mind, it's a great place to start and even maybe kind of help center conversations at that point henceforth. Because when I look at some of the history, some of the stuff that black people have had to endure most of our time together, at least in the United States, the laws, policies, customs, norms, etc., they could only exist in an environment and inside of systems where you had to question the humanity. Otherwise, the level of depravity that would have had to be exercised largely by white policymakers, by white people, by white systems, norms, behaviors, like, it just is inexplainable unless you first question our humanity. So I own a racial equity advisory firm. It's called Harper Slade. We help organizations cultivate environments where all talent can thrive, and we really lean toward an understanding of what it takes to really build and sustain and activate multiculturally rich workplaces. We see that as an inevitability because of the demographic trends that are afoot. We know that the country and the world is becoming blacker and browner, and that means that the employees that you're going to be courting are coming from communities and oftentimes people that most people don't understand well at all. But I also run a program suite called the Rare Woman Collective. That's what it's called, the Rare Woman Collective. And that's a program suite of experiences and professional development and coaching and tools and resources to help white women who really want to do this work advance racial equity in their homes, in their communities, and in their workplaces, leveraging the proximity that white women have to white men who on this topic really must be moved. And so with both of those bodies of work, both my corporate work and my coaching work with white women, we define racism as the belief that Black and brown people are inherently inferior to white, and it's the systems, policies, structures, norms, customs, behaviors that support that belief, no matter how obvious to the person who is supporting those beliefs, who has those beliefs. Sometimes it's an innate belief, sometimes it's a very overt belief. But if it's in you, then and you're protecting what's in you in some way, then in my view, that is the definition of racism. And so I'm just offering this conversation starter or redirector because oftentimes we get caught up in arguing like who should have what rights and whose life is the hardest, and we try to help white people in general understand the lived experience of Black people because we don't teach it. We don't the policy part, the norming part, the structural part, we don't teach it. So a lot of white people, especially those who have grown up inside of segregation, have no idea really what Black life has had to contort itself into in order to carve out some sort of substantive, meaningful life in the United States. And so because of that, many whites believe that it's just about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and, you know, we just need to make better choices and all those things. So anyway, we get caught up in those kinds of conversations and we're bantering back and forth and we get upset. But I think the fundamental question, and especially now as I'm reading about certain states are trying to bring back slavery, we're trying to put Black people back inside of boxes, Black and brown people inside of boxes and manageable experiences so that white majority will only have to experience Black and brown minority currently as needed or as desired in certain circumstances only episodically. So we're looking as a country to put those boxes back in place. And so I think the fundamental question is, in order to do that, there has to first be a mindset and a belief about what a Black person is. And I would argue that our humanity, the designation of our humanity, the fullness of our humanity, and all of the rights and privileges that come with that designation, that still remains elusive, and that for a lot of white people, Black humanity is still subject to discussion.
So other white people right now that are feeling like, oh my God, this isn't who we are. I can't believe we're here. Let me try to help piece some shit together for us real quick. And I'm going to start by what might seem to be a really weird example, but just stick with me. Imagine you took a picture, if you know what I mean, and that picture got leaked to a group chat that you had no idea about. And you found out and you get that gut punch in the stomach, that immediate guilt and shame. What are people perceiving me as? I can't believe, somebody sent that without my consent, without my permission. That real deep panic and pain. Now hold that thought and let's look at the state of this country. Because what is happening is a lot of white people are feeling exposed. And that's because white supremacy is out in the wide open right now. Communities that are not white have been telling us for centuries, this is who the fuck we are. This is America. Y'all did this shit. You're responsible for this. Your ancestors are responsible for this. And white people have argued against it forever. Not me. Not me. Well, I'm here now. That was my ancestors back then. This is a result of blatant white supremacy. Like all the crazy fucked up shit that's happening right now is a direct reflection of what whiteness is. And a lot of you are feeling exposed because you feel like you can't defend yourself. And a lot of you want to defend yourself like, well, I'm not like that kind of white person, but it doesn't fucking matter. We fit the description. We are a reflection of what was put into power, regardless of who you voted for. 1 out of 2 white women voted for Trump. 3 out of 5 white men voted for Trump. And we cannot expect anybody that is not white to sit here and give us automatic trust. That's just not how shit works. In fact, automatic distrust is what makes the most sense. When we look at how communities of the global majority that are not white, how they view us is distrust. Immediately not safe around us. It's been like that for a long ass time. And now a lot of white people are feeling that in their bodies in a way that we haven't probably your whole life. Like I said, that feeling of panic, of fear, of exposure, of not being able to be like, that's not me, I'm not one of them, is here right now. And that's why so many of you are melting down, because you cannot accept that we are the reason that this shit is happening. You have to accept that. If you want to move forward, you got to start there. You got to process those feelings, get that shit out of your body. And that's where we have conversations with each other. But we're so goddamn individualistic, and we don't have community with each other, that a lot of people just get stuck with that panic and that fear and that thought of being perceived by others as us being unsafe, regardless of whether or not we are or not. Like, we are unsafe, and it's tearing people up. It's tearing white people up. Something fierce. Communities that are not white have been saying this shit for centuries, and now we're stuck looking at ourselves in the mirror. And you can choose to understand, you can choose to process through those feelings, you can choose to take responsibility and accountability, you can choose to have hard fucking discussions with your family and your friends, you can choose to not follow evil orders, you can quit jobs, you can get new jobs, you can defy your boss or, fucking professor, you can defy them if they're asking you to do some fucked up shit against humanity. You can do that. But that courage piece is missing for a lot of you right now, because this is like a grief process where so many white people, again, are realizing right now we aren't the standard or the perfect, group of people that was taught to us growing up. This is exposing the ugly underbelly of this world, of this country, overtly in our face, in a way that we cannot turn away from.
This is all I got from this video. I am also kind of, I am not worried, but the reality is that some people believe that they are the standard when it comes to anything or everything. And sometimes you can feel the jealousy, like, why is this just all black space? Why do you, that reminds me, let me tell you this gist. there is a young Black woman who I think she was celebrating her anniversary. It's on this TikTok. I absolutely will bring that video. So her husband got her this huge diamond rock. Check out her comment section. They were asking her, when did you marry the man? Are you sure you're married to the, like, asking some funny question. So that also tells you, like, they do not feel like people that look like me deserve anything good. Not just only that, they also portray the same attitude when it comes to like a place or a space and the rest of it. Like the other woman was asking, what do you people think about us? Like, do you people think we are humans or something like that? Like, okay, do you believe that Black people are human beings? Because the way some of them behave will make you feel like maybe we are invincible, right? Maybe we do not. I don't understand, but like this has always, it is not a new thing. It's something that has been there all years and all that. When it comes to people that look like me, they want to feel like you are invincible, right? Because they want they want to have the space and feel like the space is just for only them and no other person deserves to be there. But it doesn't work that way. That also reminds me about the time they were talking about close practices. And some black people were talking about how some spaces are not meant for everybody, especially when it comes to close practices. There are some close practices nobody is invited except you are supposed to be there. So they were really very mad. Like, why will it be a close practice? Then if it is a close practice, it means that there is some spaces is not for you. The same thing also, it's the same thing for me too. There are some places that I will go, I will know it is not meant for me, and I absolutely will find my way out. No bad blood, no jealousy, no being mad. It is just not for me, or I am not supposed to be there. So there is no need forcing it. You see, that time you all start seeing someone or a group of people like they do not feel what you feel, or we are the standard and they are not the standard, or everything evolves around us, or we matter first before every other person. You all are not ready. Yeah, you heard me right. So what am I saying? You all are not the standard. The same thing with beauty, like you all are. I remember there was a video that made waves like some month ago about a Black woman who said that why is it that some people feel like as a Black person you are not supposed to be prettier than them, especially when it gets mock and a lot of compliments. Then when it became mad. So this is it. Black people are humans. We also deserve to be treated like humans. We deserve all the respect and all everything because we all are humans. Don't treat us like we are not, because that is how some people treat people that look like me. You all feel like, I didn't know, but like, why did they feel triggered when it got to do with people that look like me? Why are you triggered? What is triggering you? It's really unacceptable, And that is where I'm going to draw the curtain. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.